being a little bit late. I forgot that I had to sign into everything again. But excuse me while I open my beer. Tonight I am drinking For Fudge's Sake from Not Tired Hands from another brewery that is local to me called Levante Brewing Company. It's a fudge maple imperial stout. Let me take a sip of water real quick. My throat just got super dry. All right. Oh, that got all over my keyboard. Nice. Look at those awesome bubbles falling down. It's not even a nitro. All right. I'll finish pouring that in a little bit. I'm sorry I did not prep anything again. This is totally spur of the moment. What I've been working on all week, and maybe a little bit longer, I guess I should also, apologize for not streaming last week, but it was a holiday here in the US, Thanksgiving, and I was traveling, so I could not hop on. So I hope everybody had a good holiday. Mine was pretty good. Got to travel a little bit. Saw some family, and gonna do it again in a couple weeks here for Christmas holidays and New Year's. So what I wanted to show real quick is what I've been working on with the Twitter bot. Since this has been plaguing me for a couple weeks now, I've been working on it nonstop, getting it very heavy with async and await, which I've never used before, and so this is all brand new to me, how this all works, and I've been learning a lot and reading a lot and trying to understand this, and I figured I'd go through some debugging techniques, because I know everybody's always looking for tips, and I'm looking for tips. So if you see something that I'm not doing that I should be doing, definitely reach out, say something. But anyway, what I've got going here is I am trying to get this send Twitter message button to use the exact same code path that your trading session will use when it's running live. And what was happening before was these social bot functions were using, I guess, I don't know where it's easier to see this. I think I can zoom in. It's a little better, I guess. Wow, it zooms in the entire UI. You can see here on send Slack test message, and I copied this all from the send Telegram message, but these are all using the HTTP request JSON, which is defined right here in this function. It's an older piece of code, you can tell because it has a callback function. But it's using just the built-in XML HTTP request. And so it is actually sending it directly from your browser, an API call, up to, in this case, Telegram. And I copied that exact same type of code for Discord and Slack, and it works. Man, everything's going bonkers here. It works, sort of. So you don't see, here you see some errors pop up in the console. Discord doesn't do any errors in the console. I haven't configured these at all. So they are just default. Oh, man, everything. Let's make this a little bigger. Everything is default. Slack gives an error 404. And Twitter, I'm working on, so it will, 1, use the exact same code path. 2, it will display what the result of the actual call is. So if you can see over here, right now, I have just the default keys and secrets. And so I get 404 unauthorized. And I want that to display down here on the bottom instead of just saying, yep, everything was good. Because obviously your API keys and stuff are not good. So, how do I figure out what's going on here? I guess I could, that's not working. Zoom it down over here. Get that back to normal. So first thing we need to do is that since all of these are running in the UI here, you can open up this code developer tools with F12 if you haven't done that before. Another thing you can do is go down to more tools, hit your toaster at the top here, or hamburger, whatever you want to call it. Go down to more tools and then developer tools, Control-Shift-I, and that brings that up. So you can hit the keys together, Control-Shift-I, and boom. And then you hit sources, you can view your source code. So all of this code is actually running live native in your browser, not native, but running live in your browser. And so that's why you actually have this code all here too. You can actually edit it in here. And another thing that you can do is you can set breakpoints. So starting with my send Twitter message, actually, I want to start with my, let's make this bigger, my Twitter bot code itself. There's another thing that I decided to do when I was working with this as well, was to upgrade the Node.js module from the Twitter 1 npm module, node module, to Twitter v2. And with that, and part of what is driving a lot of these issues, there, I've got my beer all poured. I think I showed everybody this. Maybe I didn't. Maybe not. Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. So I had to load in the Twitter v2 client, Twitter v2 module, which meant that I needed to use a wait in order to wait for this to actually return a response. And which meant that I had to turn this into an async function, and then I had to await somewhere else and turn that into an async function, and so on and so on. And so moving all the way up, I had to make a lot of changes. And what I decided to do was, instead of killing the current code paths that are using these functions, I essentially copied them and rewrote them as asynchronous, generally using examples online, because this is all brand new to me, but trying to essentially replicate what was happening before, removing the callback, which is the old style of doing asynchronous. Either just adding async to it if it's needed, or adding a promise to it if that's needed. And one place where is it? I had to just, what finally ended up working with this function is doing kind of I guess it's kind of like an intermediate step in between that was introduced in between the callback function and the full async await, is when you promisify a existing function. So this is very similar to what is happening up here in this older function, except we don't have the callback and we are returning a promise. So in order to return, I use resolve or reject. And these resolve and reject responses are where I'm trying to inject my response text and get it to display out in the UI for the user. Another step kind of that promisifying, as they call it, of functions is doing this then.catch. And you can basically use your callback function, but have it respond to a promise instead of it being called inside of the function code and being nested that way. So these are work with promises and not necessarily async await. Async await is kind of the full way of doing promises, still allowing you to do try catch and some other things. The documentation does a much better job of describing it than I just did. Again, still learning, still trying to understand it, still trying to wrap my head around it. So I believe the way that this is working right now is I click my button in the UI, which triggers this social, where was that? Which triggers this action switch library. It tells it that I want to send a Twitter message, comes over here, runs send Twitter message, which ends up doing an HTTP request async to the backend platform, which is this HTTP interface, which has this big on request and a bunch of switches, well, nested switches. So my case of send Twitter test message gets my body, sets up a couple of variables like my message, and my data has my API keys in it. It loads up my TwitterBot socialbot function object, which is this, which is the exact same code that the live trading or your trading bot will run. Initializes it, sends a test message. It awaits for it to come back. Then it does a console log as one way of debugging and making sure that I'm getting a variable set the way that I want it. And then it responds with content, which is responding back to the UI client. And that is where, let's see if I can find it again. So that comes back to send Twitter message. We check to see if the result was okay, essentially. And this is where we node payload set the info to say we sent the message and here's the response. And the error comes back if it could not send the test message, not necessarily if the actual response from Twitter, per se, was an error. And then here, we do a promise resolve and a promise reject, returning the response. So in our, excuse me, our action switch, yeah, that's it. Send Twitter test message, social bot function. Then when we respond, we call the action.callback function. And I don't think I have that code open at the moment. No. All right. So anyway, like I was saying, old school, if you're trying to debug, and what helps me a lot too, so I don't have to necessarily set a whole bunch of breakpoints and have the code pausing in a whole bunch of different places. You can just set these console logs so you can see what happens in real time. If you're used to computers and used to standard out, standard in, standard error, then you'll kind of understand log levels, and you can set different log levels doing console.error, console.log. You don't necessarily have to. If you want these to stick around after you're done debugging, it probably is a little bit more eloquent to do that. But if you're just debugging, console.log is perfectly good, and then you can put whatever message you want. What else? So, as I mentioned, you can set breakpoints. Usually, depending on your editor that you're using. If it's something like VScode or PyCharm or oh, I don't even know. Whatever you're using. If it's more than just a text editor, if it's an IDE, it will have the ability to run a debugging console or a debugging session and take advantage of these breakpoints. So I just set one here at 259. You can see I have this orange bar at the bottom and this little bug over here showing that I'm running a debug terminal. I'll show you how I got that. I'll just kill this real quick, and you can see that we go back to blue. VS Code does have a couple of different ways to trigger debugging, debug mode. I personally like to do it this way, where I hit the arrow next to the plus button here and go to JavaScript debug terminal, and it pops up this other window here. So whenever I run my node platform, it always starts the debugger. There are other ways that you can click on, like launch in Chrome or run start debugging. So find what works for you and go with it. You can also see that we get this little control bar up here. You can pause it with F6, step over F10, step into with F11, step out of with F11. Oh, Shift F11, sorry. Restart, Control Shift F5, and disconnect, Shift F5. Generally, you don't need to use these to, when you set a breakpoint, this pause button will turn into kind of a play button. And it'll go forward to the next breakpoint. The step over, I will show for you in a moment. We are reconnected here. Let's just hit this. Let's see. Nothing happened. Cool. Well, that didn't work as expected. Oh, here. Now it worked. All right. So you can see we got a little bit of output here showing my, this is my data actually from HTTP interface. I have this console.log data. What does this tell me to do? Nah. And then while you're paused, oh, I guess because I'm not paused on this page. Should be. Where did I pause? Oh, here. You can hover your mouse over the variables to see what they have as their values. Pretty cool. So the debug mode is definitely a lot more powerful than just console logs on their own. But console logs definitely have their place. I'm still going to use them. In the olden days, me using Vim and Notepad++, these were the only ways that I knew how to debug, was just to console log or print statements everywhere, echo statements everywhere. And it still works. Sometimes you do want to be verbose in your logging anyway. So even while you're not running an actual debug session, you want to come back later, see what your code is doing, where things went wrong. You have logs to look back at. But anyway, what else was I going to show? So that's some debugging strategies for VScode itself. Oh, and I came back here. You can see I get a couple more messages. I get paused here. See what my response is. And if I look back here, you'll see, oh, it went away too quick. But I actually had the code 401 details unauthorized in the bottom here. So I think I'm almost there. I want to figure out some timing issues. And then I'll probably push this up maybe before the end of the week. Getting pretty excited about how good this is going. Something else, while I have this code window open and I'm showing you that you can see all the code in here, you can set breakpoints here in your browser. So now you can see I ran my code, I'm paused, and I'm here at my await HTTP request async. And I could do same thing. Hover over my variables, see their values. I don't know why my endpoint, there it is open and I'm undefined because it hasn't actually run yet. But then I can step over and it just finished. Okay. But anyway, same thing. And you can edit it right here as well. You can put in a console log. Save it. And you'll see I'm kind of like reloading the code here. It's not really doing anything. And now if I run my, did I pause my back end? No. Did I? I did. All right. So everything's getting kind of effed up now. Take these breakpoints off. What happened? Did I lose my... Why isn't this working? Oh, I did pause? Oh, I paused it myself. What is going on? I have too many breakpoints all over the place. Anyway, console log will output in this console. Sorry, I can't demonstrate it to you. I guess I kind of was. When all those, like this, XML HTTP request response text, that's actually coming from this. Anyway, 9:30, I'm gonna move on. That's what's going on with this. Get out of that. So yeah, the next thing I want to do is I want to git pull upstream develop. I want to git push. I want to npm CI. I want to update all of my packages. Now we're going to talk about the governance system, updating our profile. So this takes a couple message. Most of these deprecation warnings are coming from dependencies of dependencies and not necessarily dependencies that are direct to Superalgos. So they are things that we cannot really fix unless we go over to the other projects and update their dependencies for them. All right, and now we can node platform. We are up and running. So the first thing I want to do is find the, token distribution Superalgos. I guess you can't see that because it's right behind my head. Token distribution Superalgos, plugin Workspace. Click on it. Let it load. And let's look at all the totalers. So as soon as you create your profile, it gets added to this workspace. I'm not going to go through the tutorial again, but I am going to try and find my own. Well, actually, first I'm going to go to plugins, user profiles, and I'm going to try and find mine. Oh, jeez. Isn't there a way that you can, like, type your name in? User profile, plugin. Aha, it takes you right to it somehow. There. Oop. So to show you again, what I did was docs, type in my username, splat, and then I wanted the plugin file. So it took me, centered my screen right on my plugin file, and then I extended it, setting the distance a little bit bigger so it would stand out. And what I want to do is I want to turn on enable saving with Workspace. So when you have the red X, that means that it is enabled, because you clicking it again will disable saving with Workspace, just in case you were wondering. So if I hit save, you can see, well, I don't have it there. Actually, let me do it again, because I think you can see it. So it's saying plugin saved right there. And then if I want to do it again, splat, and I want to go to my user profile, and it should have taken me, what if I zoom in? Right to it, user profile, boom, there it is. All right. So now I can expand my user. I think I went over this before, but I'll do it again real quick. These onboarding programs are basically the airdrop. So you get free tokens by just setting these up and contributing your profile. This airdrop program is literally just creating your profile. The GitHub program, you get tokens if you have starred the repository. And I do not know how it knows that, but somehow it knows that. And you can read the documentation here. So, as you can see, maximize your token awarded by having a fork, a star, and watching the repository. And I guess I haven't looked at the code, but I guess somehow it connects into the GitHub API and checks things there. So the very first thing you want to do is go down to this new token power switch, add your onboarding program, add these two things, and they get configured with a percentage of 0 by default, I believe. And if it doesn't, then add this configuration in there saying JSON object percentage 0. And then you have your community building programs. Let's close some of these. And if you want to participate in all of these, you just have to spawn them. The referral gives the person that referred you to Superalgos a little bit of power in their voting. And you can get some back by having people mark you as a refer. Support program, similar thing. Setting up a person that supports, offers you support, giving them some power. And then when people say that you help them, they give you, they set you as a user supporter and you get tokens awarded. Mentorship program, similar. I don't know what is different, and I brought up the exact same thing, didn't it? I don't know what is different about the mentorship program and the support program, but they do different things. Influencers, I don't think was actually set up. It was supposed to be a way of marking somebody as like you follow them on Twitter or something. I think that's what the point was, but I don't think this actually does anything right now. I should probably configure that to be less than 1%, but that's what I have it at. And I'll skip over votes and claims because that's kind of the meat. Financial programs. These you don't necessarily have to think about. If you want to delegate power to somebody else, you can. Basically, as it says, allowing them to have a louder voice in the system. Usually that's used for people who haven't really been around that long, don't necessarily have a lot of voting power coming in, and then you are willing to contribute some of your power, basically like freshly donate it to them so they can offer up rewards and claims of their own that they might not be able to do otherwise. And the staking program, I don't really know that much about this, so let's learn something together. Staking program allows Superalgos community to compensate token holders for the sake of holding tokens. Holding tokens may be a valuable contribution. You can read more about that there if you want. But the other kind of similar program to the staking program is liquidity programs, which are set up through PancakeSwap. There's a couple of Medium posts about it. You can set up BNB to SA liquidity program, BUSD to SA liquidity, and BTCB. And I think somebody set up ETH. You can set up your own if you want, but you being the only person in it isn't necessarily beneficial. PancakeSwap is known as a automated market maker. So it will just kind of, somebody wants to trade for another token, it'll just kind of figure it out But anyway, if you put in money on PancakeSwap, follow the guides in the medium.com blog area. I don't have a way to show it to you right now. And then you will have your liquidity power linked directly. Let's see if I zoom in. Oh, of course. It puts me right back at back to my user profile. That's a neat handy trick. You can see I only put in like, I don't know, $5 or something in each of these just to get them set up. I didn't have time to think about and allocate other money. But you can see I have 0.08 liquidity power, 21 liquidity power, and 0.96 liquidity power. Based on the amount of actual liquidity that I have in the markets set up on PancakeSwap. And I think these I basically copied from Luis's profile. So if you want a very good example of what your profile should look like, P2P network nodes. That's cool. Social perform. Oh, neato. All right, so I do need to add in. Interesting. I don't know what these are. So I do need to add some new nodes to mine. So we will go through updating all of these. But basically what I do is I look at Luis and I copy his. And I may set some of the voting power to be slightly different. But you can see down here at the liquidity programs, you can just copy this node, go to the clone or the backup, either way. And then you can just drag and drop it from your Finder window or File Explorer. Sorry, I'm used to working in a Mac all day. To get the node back in here. And then to attach it to yourself, where am I? Over here. So I can detach. And just to go over it again, left click moves it around, right click lets you attach it. See how that yellow ring then lets you know I'm attaching. Let me zoom out. User bots, user social performer, personas, user apps. These are brand new. But anyway, the other thing you want to look at are your claims programs. And you can see we have Superalgos pools at the bottom here. This is all brand new to me. I haven't looked at this in like a month. We have teams of contributors, and we have pools. And so I think I have to make some massive updates to mine now. Software project teams, marketing teams, education teams, tech teams, other teams. I think I may have my teams set up correctly. I think this asset claims folder is gone. I think this feature claims is gone. And let's look back at Luis. He only has the position claims and the tokens awarded. And he has nothing under position claims. So let's go back. And what else do I have under here? Just gonna rename that. So the ones that I found for myself, let's look at other teams. Community teams, Russian, Turkish, non-tech, not me. User experience, icons, UX, not me. Chat platform, Discord, Telegram, forum, not me. Tech teams, setup, GitHub, distribution, Docker, sysadmin. I may need to do those. Because those... Alright, I didn't see Shilkwam when you posted your message. Sorry, I just saw it. Why are you trying to access this from screen? Which screen? I guess that was while I was debugging? Oh, Niobe. Yes, this is a user in our Discord channel. Which screen were you talking about? And was that back in the debugging, or is it a part of what I'm doing right now? In the governance system, trying to update my profile. Your question about what are you trying to access? Just after the debugging, we were looking at your profile. It didn't look like you were in the cockpit view. I'm not sure what you meant. The cockpit view. What is the cockpit view? Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the cockpit view. Came across it in the code, but didn't in the tutorials. I wonder if this, the visual coding area is called the cockpit in the coding area, if that's what you mean. As opposed to the charting space, the white area. Maybe the black area is called the cockpit in the code? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's see. Luis does not have anything for me to go off. Let's see who else would have updated theirs. Harold. B. Harold. He's usually on top of these things. So he has set all of his up to just be position claims. Okay. So in the last round, what I was looking for is... I need to redo these. I can't hit install missing. What did I do? So in the last round, they actually set up like team lead and some other things, and so it mattered which one you chose. I don't think that necessarily matters now. But one teams at 1.0. So I think what you want to do is hit a claims folder, which you can then link to. Let's see if I get this right. So I want to save the node to move. Go down here to the folder that you want to link to. Click snap. Oh, I lost it, didn't I? Because I didn't pin it. Pin. Save the node to be moved. And then snap. Boom. That's it. All right, so move this out of the way. Pin it. And maybe I'll do it this way. I want software projects. I want to add a folder. Minimize. Link that. Probably don't need to do it this way. Oh, cool, that worked. All right, so let me delete this real quick and let me see if this works. So now that I linked this to the software projects, we call that software projects teams. If I click install missing, oh, boom, it did it all for me. Awesome. So I can move that back. I can go up here. I can add a new. I think I need 4 of them. Pin, copy. Oop. Keep forgetting that I can't click and move. And then I move here. Pin. Oop. And install missing. I wonder if I had just linked to this main one, if that would have done it. Let me try that. All right, so this is linked to nothing right now. Let me pin, copy, and bring it down here. Yes, that did it. Got me everything by just hitting install missing claims. Perfect. Team position pools. I don't know if I have to do anything with pools. I may have to look into that. Anyway, let's see here. Close our votes. Let's close up some of these. Governance project. I'm not really participating in governance, coding the governance project, so I'm not going to do that. Education, I don't really participate in. Foundations, I may have made a couple of contributions. I can't remember. Data mining, I am working on a Twitter bot, but I haven't finished it yet. Visual scripting, didn't really do anything, but social bots I've been working a lot on, so I'm going to leave that. All right. Marketing. I do post on Twitter a bunch, so I'm going to leave that. Facebook, I don't really do anything. Reddit, I am participating a bunch in, trying to get that community going. YouTube, and I copy all of these Twitter things over to YouTube. So I'm gonna leave it, see if anybody votes for it. I meant Twitch. Did I say Twitch? I meant Twitch. So that general spell check that I did, I would have to make claims in all of these nodes. All is more than one. I think that's kind of discretionary as to how you want to claim that. Obviously, you could try and claim whatever you want. I don't think that that's necessarily how it should be done, because I would personally consider spell checks as more of like a documentation thing. Inside of code, if the code's working, it doesn't matter what is spelled what. It really only looks bad in documentation and when people are trying to read it. So I would say if you're trying to go for the software project teams, they would be more like you're fixing bugs, you're adding new features, things like that, as opposed to just spell checking. But I can see how you can make the point that you are making changes to the code. But I would personally consider that not as important as adding a feature or fixing a bug, because the code was working. Doesn't necessarily matter what the spelling is. It's a vanity thing, I guess is what how I would describe it. But I would definitely consider that a documentation, because a lot of people consider code as documentation, and if you're cleaning it up, making it look better, even if you're not changing the function, I would call that a documentation effort. Maybe a little bit of marketing, but marketing is more like standing on a street corner, selling newspapers, handing out flyers, in a traditional sense, speaking with a megaphone. There is room to be artistic with the claims, and that's what the voting is all about. So people can specifically go and vote on your claim. Just because you claim something doesn't mean that you get it necessarily. If people aren't fastidious with their voting, then yes, you could probably eke out some claims that you shouldn't have gotten. So let's see here. So here we go. Content creation. I have my own little bubble here. My Brett's live streaming videos. So definitely leaving that. Blog team, I don't really participate in. Team position class. Superalgos.org. I do not create things for Superalgos.org. How do you fund that? So these claims go through the voting program. So claims program is essentially bringing tokens in, because you have the tokens awarded, and then the vote program is tokens going out. So that's where you place votes on other people for their claims. So you can see how I copied these off of Luis last month. And he named them for specific people because they were going specifically to them for their claims. You can see the little gray, I'm trying to point to it with my finger. But you can see that these are linked to other profiles. So when you get this set up correctly, you can then make sure that you're delegating your voting power properly to specific people. Let's see. So I already went through that. That's why that was minimized. And exchange relationships. I did create some code that helped with the OKX, so I'm going to leave that there. The relationship that we were trying to build with them. Education teams, I don't really do anything here, so I'm going to delete the whole node. The education teams typically work with the tutorials that are built in and the documentation that is built in, and sometimes posting on the blog. Sysadmins team I'm keeping because that was more or less kind of set up for me, and essentially helping people set up their clusters or their nodes or whatever, getting Ubuntu installed, things like that. Docker position, again, kind of created for me because I was the one who originally created the Docker file and I maintain a lot of it, making sure that it gets built properly every month. So I'm going to leave that. Distribution team, I do not work on. Setup team, I do not work on. GitHub team, I don't really work on, so I'm going to take that off. Other teams, excuse me. Community teams, I'm going to remove. UX, I'm going to remove, even though I have contributed some icons, I didn't do it this month. Excuse me. And I don't really consider that my primary purpose. I only contributed them because I created the Discord, the Slack, and the Twitter social bots, and they needed icons to be shown on the screen here, so I removed those. A lot of the work that I'm doing, that I started showing off at the beginning of the video, where I'm contributing code that is a part of the UI, I'm not going to necessarily claim because it's not really working on the UI itself so much as it is just making sure that the social bots work that I've been working with. I'm going to remove this one in the chat platforms because I don't do anything with the forum really, just haven't had the time to jump onto it. But I do spend time in Discord and Telegram. And I do help people in both of those areas, so I'm going to leave that for now. So there you go. That's how you set up your claims. And you can divert power to it. I have essentially given this all of my leftover power. And previously I was giving my votes only 1% of my power. I may fix that this month. So let's look back at Luis here to see how he has his votes. Unused token power. Oh, I wonder if he did that because he just set up percentages. Yeah. New weights. Doesn't have anything under any of this. Claim votes. Maybe he just has that go into everything. education team, other votes. Okay, so he has specific claims to people. The very I don't know where this is good. So wait votes. Wait vote switch. Look at that. Huh, that didn't work. All right, so add your profile vote switch. So I think you approach docs on it. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you what it's for. I'm gonna assume to a specific person. And use a profile. Oh, so I wonder if you can just like be in this and wait. Maybe. I don't know. I don't feel like playing with it right now. Honestly, I don't understand what any of this stuff. Bye. You may use this for 3 different purposes: as an organizational device, as a switch, you may control the flow of weight power, pretty much like a token switch, but within the voting program. If you need a reminder, read about how token power flows. As a data structure mapper, use this node to reference class types of nodes within project definition hierarchies to map entire where was I? Entire structures of definitions. Use wait vote switches to establish a reference with a class type node. Pool class, position class, feature class, asset class. Okay, interesting. So is that linked? Doesn't necessarily seem it. I don't see any gray lines. So it looks to me I can add another vote switch here. We can pin and save the node. And go down here. Can I snap? All right, so that is linked now. If I install missing votes, okay, cool. I get everybody's votes in there. So that kind of worked the way that I expected it to. And then I want to pin, copy, come down here to governance programs. Want to move and install missing. So that's got everything in there now. Let's add one more. Pin, copy. Come down here. Team positions. There's nothing under here. But it's a pool. Oh, I can't link to that. Okay, let me delete that. Let me delete this one. And copy. And move. Oh, shoot. All right, I can end that link. Okay. All right, so that added all those pools in. And I've got the pools and I've got the teams. And then the claims, I've got nothing. Under the claims folders. And these were set up specific for people. And I think in this case, it's supposed to be like, if you want to give specific power to specific people, or if you're a team leader, you should be a little bit closer in terms of what the work the other people are doing that are not really like your subordinates, but people that you work very closely with, so your peers. So you should be able to kind of understand what they're doing and give them more props for what they claim. And I think these pools just kind of go into general. So if you don't specifically, if you weren't specifically to say like, I'm going to vote for Brett, for Splat, for his claims, I would get, but you set up all these pools, I would get power through these pools, but I don't get as much as if you were to specifically set up these votes to me. This looks like it has a little bit of a learning curve to it. Do you think the best thing to do once you have a few coins is to immediately put it into financial programs or staking? No, I would say what you want to do is you want to keep it for voting, and at the very least set up the voting pools. And then if you have specific people that help you answer questions, guide you through the program, people that are giving you exceptional information, or if you want to pick up something, a part of the system, and really lead it and become the team leader, then you know who to specifically give certain tokens to, or, you know, help them with their claims and essentially give them more tokens every month by setting up these specific claims folders for them. The liquidity programs are more for the stability of the token itself, in terms of if people, there are certain people who want to quit their job and work on Superalgos full time. If they were to do that, they would need to be able to trade the token every month for actual money to be able to pay their bills. And so you providing liquidity helps stabilize the coin, the value of the coin, of the token, and allows those people to get a better conversion rate of the token to their preferred other coin, whether it's fiat or not. So finding a good mentor and doing the coin thing is more valuable than staking your early coins. I would say so. I mean, I think the whole point of this is not just getting value back, getting tokens back for things that you're contributing, but it's also a way of like tipping the people that help you. So if somebody is very beneficial, you know, we don't have a tip bot, or you can't necessarily put $1 in a jar or something like that. Help them through the voting program. And it benefits you to then go in and make sure that you set your claims up properly so that other people can vote on them properly. So if somebody wants to, for example, you mentioned if you wanted to give me a little bit of a boost for producing these videos every week, if I don't claim them, then you can't give me a tip or you can't give me a bonus. So it's kind of a full loop thing. Which I guess kind of makes sense that Luis doesn't have a lot of this set up, because he's probably going to, doesn't necessarily need to make claims, and he probably just distributes the coins as he sees fit anyway. But anyway, let me see here. Oh, this is Harold BM's that I'm looking at. So let's see. So he set up education team because he is education team lead. He wants to give props to all the people that he works with. And then he has some other specific people that he wanted to give props to, so he set them up. Honestly, I unfortunately do not pay attention too well to what is going on in the day-to-day, because I'm a little bit too busy with family life and work life, and I just generally enjoy working on Superalgos for a side project. So I just kind of help out where I can, and unfortunately, I don't have any specific people. I mean, I guess I could, or some of the people I see every day. I guess I might as well do add a voting claim switch. I'll do Harold BM because I see him every day in the chat working on things. Oh, I thought that would link right to him. What do I need? Oh, does that go to his position claims? Okay. So it has to go to his claims. No? Oh, there. Okay, to his main position claims folder. So now that is set. I'm delegating right now 4,000 tokens to Harold BM's claims. Cool. So that's how that works. Set up a couple others. Who else do I see in chat every day? I think Cozed is one. All right, let's set up a couple more. You love. Oh, I didn't copy. Pin, copy. And minimize, minimize. Move. Oh, Ralph. Copy. Expand. Oh man, he has all these set up separately. Does that one go to new position claims folder? All right, I'm gonna do it just for the data mining. What did I do? Copy. Nope, not pin. Move. Nah. Oh, I did want a pin. Ralph. Rapple. Who else would see? I think that's it. I'll have to go back and make sure I know what everybody's GitHub names are. But those are the only GitHub names that I recognize at the moment. And again, I think if you aren't specifically voting for a specific person, if you set up these pools, your claims will just kind of pull from these pools. And so anybody putting money into the pool, you will get a cut of if you are contributing and setting up your claims. I think that's how it works. I think somebody goes through and audits. I hope somebody goes through and audits. And I think that's it. I guess these other things I need to look into. Social personas, P2P network, user bots, user apps. I don't know what these are. What did I do? This seem messed up. Alright, so what did Luis have? Social personas. I don't know if these are working yet. I don't know what these do. This may be upcoming. Yeah. Oh, social handle bio. Interesting. Code name. Cool. Yeah, I would like that. I think what this may be doing is setting up so that, for example, for this Twitch stream that I'm doing right now, I think I'd be able to put in that this is, you know, essentially link this to my Twitch account and then have people vote on my Twitch account as opposed to me having to make a claim and then having people vote for that. So it would be a little bit more automatic. I think that's what this does. User bots. This may be like my Twitter bot and my Discord and my Slack bot, where I can say I have these bots running that are essentially social personas, but they are bots. Same thing, possibly. And in the case of like Twitter or if you are providing signals to other clients or users or whatever, you'd be more or less spreading the word of Superalgos at the same time. And so people may want to give you a little bit of a boost for doing that. And user apps, server apps, mobile apps, desktop apps. I don't know. Same thing, maybe. I don't know if these are actually working right now. So I'm going to remove them. I don't know what they do. I don't think they're fully working. Where did that go? Why is this angled like this? That looks so weird. What happened to the other one? Oh no. Oh, it's buggy. Okay. So I can't add these on here. But I deleted them. Or I deleted one of them. I can't see it. And it disappeared. Alright, well, whatever. I think I'm done for now. Oh, it got moved. Here. Where's the other one? Social personas is screwing things up. Alright, well, let me save. Did I save Luis's? I hopefully didn't. Only my own. Plugin saved. Yeah, okay. Just saved mine. Alright, I think I'm done for now. So I'm gonna contribute this back. I'll close, I'll minimize that for, close that. Alright, and the only file I have changed is my own profile. Gonna git checkout -b, splat profile, git add, git commit, update splat profile. And I need my GPG. Nope, wrong. Excuse me. And let's go make my PR to develop. Update splat profile. It's the only file in there. And look at that, it's verified because I signed it with my GPG key. And one automatically merge. Let's go ahead and change to, oh, did I cancel it? Sure. So git pull. Yep, goes pull develop node platform. So I have my own to me regarding Superalgos here instead of that the games. What I'm looking at on docs. Look back at my profile, which are going cool. These in particular, basically any that makes a claim, support interpreting this. I think that's what it means. On claim, I'm now going specifically to a user for extra power, based specific claims. Full bonus, and in the case of, I'm totally to be claims, and at least most of the mine claims. Give him bonus, he making the claim and contributing bonus from me or data mine contributions. Yeah, I appreciate these videos, and you want me to keep contributing notes to me and specifically to my videos. So my jobs, I'm working on this full time. I only work on this a couple hours a week when I get some time. And extra money obviously is welcome, but I do it for fun. Before I close out for the night, this has been a mess. I wanted to look into this question that somebody had about charting space and setting up let's see, getting started tutorials. Let's go back. Oh, I didn't start it. Did I start it? I did start it. There we go. Somebody had a question about setting up different scales, setting up different charts on different scales inside of their same charting space. And I've never done this before. So somebody said that it's in the docs. I wanted to take a look at it and walk through it. Let's do a quick save. Call that demo charts 1. Oh, I didn't mean to add a client. Proper JSON. Save. Refresh. What is the center point called? That's the main workspace node. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, this is just the workspace node. So what I generally do, especially recently, the getting started tutorials is definitely the one that is being kept up to date the most in terms of supporting all the features of the backend and everything that have been developed recently. So I generally start, if I'm starting fresh on a new idea or something, I start from this getting started tutorials. And this is actually where you load, if you have a fresh browser, fresh install, this comes up first. If you click up at the top here and rename it, then you open up this Workspaces tab. You'll see that I now have my own personal saved workspace here, GST demo charts 1. It matches this name that I gave it. And let me duplicate. If I go and look in my charts, my workspaces folder, Where is it? Platform. I have my GST demo charts 1 JSON file there. So when I right click and zoom out, this center space right here is the Workspace's node. It just doesn't get bigger for some reason like all these others. But that's what that is. So then I left click to go back in, zoom in on it. So what I was going to do is, let me add in a data mine. Let's add in the missing data mines. Let's delete out a bunch of these. Let's see, Sparta. Sparta may be the one I want. I'm looking for the RSI because I know that that comes up at a different scale. So one of the problems that I run into, and you may run into also, is if you are viewing candles and you want to then view an oscillator at the same time on the same graph or same chart space. Let's save. I'll pin this and I'll move it. Let's see. I'll just move it down for now. All right, about there. Save and refresh. And the reason why I refreshed is I just added the brand new data mine. And now that I refreshed, it loaded it. So I can close this up. I have my Sparta data mine. It has my RSI oscillator in it. Now I want to mine some data. Let me change this. Go to Binance US. So I set my code name in the config. I set the node name just for vanity, so I recognize it. You can see now that this over here has been updated to Binance US. And it does not have the extra data mine. So one thing you can do is uninstall. And then install. Now close that. Now I've got all the mines. So for candles, I'm going to set this, beginning of the year, good enough. And run them all. Oh, I thought I already had this data downloaded. Oh man, this is going really slow today. While that's happening, somebody said that we can look this up in the docs. So let me see here. Do I want to look at time scale? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I hit the back button by accident. Did I not save it? Oh, I didn't save it. Well, I may have effed myself up. Got my Sparta. Minimize. Uninstall. Install. Save. Let's refresh. My task is still running. See if it'll pick it up. It may not, because it doesn't have the right nodes. Hmm. Well, the big boo-boo. Let's see. Got 2 instances running. All right. And this time period's quicker. That's 9. 2 months, 3 months. Run. All right. So anyway, what was I doing? Looking up in the docs. This is loading. The quote I have is interested on the setup of charts with different sections and scale, and under 3 sections, for example, each with its own scale that would be volume, RSI, or MACD, or other. The tutorial would figure out how to set up something clean, and it should talk about different rate scale section. But then in the charts, we didn't do it. All right, so let's look up chart space. Nope. Scales. May exist at the machine and at the level of a timeline chart, each affecting the corresponding concept. So let's see, this is still calculating. Does that mean in my charting space? Oops. I'm going to look at testing. Sparta data. So what I gather from that is, man, I wish I wasn't out of water. We said it corresponds to this rate scale is automatic by min max. So then my data, I can add a rate scale. I can configure it to, let's say, min value negative 100, max value 100. See what that does. We're going to Sparta. I want my RSI. Woohoo! So that kind of worked. Zone scale. If we set the auto max to true. It's weird. You can see we have the separate time scale here. Sorry, separate rate scale. I move that. Maybe that was better. 2.01. Or what if I set the new 201? Okay, that moved it. Moved it a little. So I want to set my min value. What is that? Moved it. Okay. So these values are offsets, not necessarily actual value numbers. So I started at 0, and since this is the beginning of my time, I can actually value here this is all 0. But then I have my actual MACD values on a separate scale, on the same, and it actually kind of makes sense. So I kept this time scale. So as I zoom in, this will also zoom in MACD, or our side graph. Pretty cool. Next thing, turn off the auto. And adjust the scale yourself. So then you have your candles right up above your RSI. And they move together. And my time scale again is the same. And if you wanted to set a different time scale, add in another time scale. Set your value. I can set this. There you go. So I can zoom in. So this is a 1 hour candles and 4 hours RSI. Pretty cool. All right, that's it for me for the night. Check us out on the web, Reddit, Twitter. Join us in Telegram. Sorry, my throat is super dry now, and I'm out of water. Join us in Telegram. Join us in Discord. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. I'll have this posted up there tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And get out there and vote. Set up your profile, get some tokens. Contribute. Catch you on the flippy floppy.